Curtain rises, disclosing the ushers of the theatre still moving up and down the aisles. Cries of "Program, program" are heard. There is a bustle of brilliant conversation, illuminated with flashes of opera glasses and the rattle of expensive jewelry. Then suddenly, almost unexpectedly, in fact, just as if done, as it were, by machinery, the lights all over the theatre, except on the stage, are extinguished. Absolute silence falls. Here and there is heard the crackle of a shirt front, but there is no other sound. In this expectant hush, a man in a check tweed suit walks on the stage. Only one man, one single man. Because if he had been accompanied by a chorus, that would have been a burlesque. If 4 citizens in togas had been with him, that would have been Shakespeare. If 2 Russian soldiers had walked after him, that would have been melodrama. But this is none of these. This is a problem play. So he steps in alone, all alone, and with that absolute finish of step, that ability to walk as if, how can one express it? As if he were walking, that betrays the finished actor. He has, in fact, barely had time to lay down his silk hat when he is completely betrayed. You can see that he is a finished actor, finished about 15 years ago. He lays the hat, hollow side up, on the silk hat table on the stage right center, bearing north, northeast, a half a point west from the red mica fire on the stage, which warms the theatre. All this is done very, very quietly, very impressively. No one in the theatre has ever seen a man lay a silk hat on a table before, and so there is a breathless hush. Then he takes off his gloves, one by one, not 2 or 3 at a time, and lays them in his hat. The expectancy is almost painful. If he had thrown his gloves into the mica fire, it would have been a relief, but he doesn't. The man on the stage picks up a pile of letters from the letter department of the hat table. There are a great many of these letters because all his correspondence, as well as his private letters, are sent here by the General Post Office. Getting his letters in this way at night, he is able to read them like lightning. Some of them he merely holds upside down for a fraction of a second. Then, at last, he speaks. It has become absolutely necessary, or he wouldn't do it.
So, Sao Paulo prison again. Rio Tinto down again. Morbidly anxious. Better sell for £500,000 sterling.
Did you hear that? £500,000 sterling, and he takes it just as quietly as that. And it isn't really in the play either. Sao Paulo and Rio Tinto just come in to let you know the sort of man you're dealing with.
Lady Garthorne, dinner Thursday the 9th. Lunch with the ambassador Friday the 10th.
And mind you, even this is just patter. The ambassador doesn't come into the play either. He and Lady Gathorn are just put in to let the people in the cheaper seats know the kind of thing they're up against. Then the man steps across the stage and presses a button. A bell rings. Even before it has finished ringing, nay, just before it begins to ring, a valet enters.
Did you ring, Sir John?
You can tell he is a valet because he is dressed in the usual home dress stage of a stage valet. There is a rustle of programs all over the house. You can hear a buzz of voices say, "He's Sir John Trevor." They're all onto him. When the valet says,
Did you ring, Sir John?
he ought to answer, "No, I merely knocked the bell over to see how it would sound." But he misses it and doesn't say it.
Has her ladyship come home?
Yes, Sir John.
Has anyone else been here?
Mr. Harding, Sir John.
Anyone else?
No, Sir John.
Very good.
The valet bows and goes out, and everybody in the theatre, or at least everybody in the seats worth over $1, knows that there's something strange in the relations of Lady Cicely Trevor and Mr. Harding. You notice, Mr. Harding was there, and no one else was there. That's enough in a problem play. The double door at the back of the stage, used only by the principal characters, is opened, and Lady Cicely Trevor enters. She is young and very beautiful, and wears a droopy hat and long, slinky clothes, which she drags across the stage. She throws down her feather hat and her crepe de what-do-you-call-it boa on the boa stand. Later on, the valet comes in and gathers them up. He is always gathering up things like this on the stage. Hats and boas and walking sticks thrown away by the actors, but nobody notices him. They are his perquisites. Sir John says to Lady Cicely,
Shall I ring for tea?
and Lady Cicely says,
Thanks, no.
in a weary tone. This shows that they are the kind of people who can have tea at any time. All through a problem play, it is understood that any of the characters may ring for tea and get it. Tea in a problem play is the same as whiskey in a melodrama. Then there ensues a dialogue to this effect. Sir John asks Lady Cicely if she has been out. He might almost have guessed it from her coming in a hat and cloak, but Sir John is an English baronet. Lady Cicely says,
Yes, the usual round.
and distributes a few details about duchesses and princesses for the general good of the audience.
Are you going out?
Yes, immediately.
To the house, I suppose.
This is very impressive. It doesn't mean, as you might think, the workhouse or the White House or the station house or the Bon Marché. It is the name given by people of Lady Cicely's class to the House of Commons.
Yes, I am extremely sorry. I had hoped I might ask to go with you to the opera. I fear it is impossible. The ministers have brought down the papers, the Kafunistan business. The House will probably divide into subcommittees. Oh, Gatherson will ask a question. Oh, that must be stopped at all cost. The fate of the party hangs on it.
Sir John has risen. His manner has changed. His look is altered. You can see him alter it. It is now that of a statesman. The technical details given above have gone to his head. He can't stop. He goes on.
They will force a closure on the second reading, go into committee, redivide, subdivide, and force us to bring down the estimates.
While Sir John speaks, Lady Cicely's manner has been that of utter weariness. She has picked up the London Times and thrown it aside. Taken up a copy of Punch and let it fall with a thud to the floor. Looked idly at a piece of music and decided, evidently, not to sing it. Sir John runs out of technical terms and stops. The dialogue has clearly brought out the following points. Sir John is in the House of Commons. Lady Cicely is not. Sir John is 25 years older than Lady Cicely. He doesn't see, isn't he a fool when everybody in the gallery can see it, that his parliamentary work is meaningless to her, that her life is insufficient. That's it. Lady Cicely is being starved. All that she has is money, position, clothes, and jewelry. These things starve any woman. They cramp her. That's what makes problem plays.
Are you taking Mr. Harding with you?
Why?
Nothing. I thought I might ask him to take me to the opera. Puffy is to sing.
Oh, do, pray do. Take Harding with you by all means. Poor boy, do take him with you. You know, Cicely, I've been rather troubled lately by Harding. There's something the matter with the boy, something wrong.
Yes?
He seems abstracted, moody. I think, in fact, I think the boy is in love.
Yes?
Oh, take the word of an old man, my dear. There's a woman in it. We old parliamentary hands are very shrewd, you know, even in these things. Someone's playing the devil with Jack, with Harding.
Sir John cannot see the change in Lady Cicely's face. He is not meant to see it. But even the little girls in the 10th row of the gallery are wise.
Talk to him. Get it out of him. You women can do these things. Find out what the trouble is and let me know. I must help him. I promised his mother when he came back to England, that I would.
You knew Mr. Harding's mother very well?
Very well.
That was long ago, wasn't it?
Long ago.
Was she married then?
No, not then.
Here in London?
Yes, in London. I was only a barrister then, with my way to make, and she, famous beauty.
Sir John is speaking with a forced levity that doesn't deceive even the ushers.
She married Harding of the Guards. They went to India. And there he spent her fortune and broke her heart.
Have you seen her since?
No, never.
She has never written you?
Only once. When she sent him home, she wrote to me for help. That's why I took him on as my secretary.
And that was why Mr. Harding came to us in Italy 2 years ago, just after our marriage.
Yes, that is why.
Does Mr. Harding know
What?
that you knew his mother?
I have never spoken to him about his mother's early life.
The stage clock on the mantelpiece begins to strike. Sir John lets it strike up to 4 or 5 and then
I
says,
shall be late. I will miss the sitting. Goodbye.
He moves over to Lady Cicely and kisses her. There is softness in his manner. Such softness that he forgets the bundle of parliamentary papers that he had laid down. Everybody in the theatre can see that he has forgotten them. They were right there under his very eye. Sir John goes out. Lady Cicely stands looking fixedly at the fire. She says out loud to herself,
How his voice changed. 25 years ago. So long as that. I wonder if Jack knows.
Mr. Harding is downstairs, milady.
Show him up, Ransom.
A moment later, Mr. Harding enters. He is a narrow young man in a frock coat. His face is weak. It has to be. Mr. Harding is meant to typify weakness.
My darling!
She says, just like that, in capital letters. You can feel the thrill of it run through the orchestra chairs. All the audience look at Mr. Harding, some with opera glasses, others with eyeglasses on sticks. They can see that he is just the sort of ineffectual young man that a starved woman in a problem play goes mad over. Lady Cicely repeats, "My darling," several times. Mr. Harding says, "Hush," and tries to disengage himself. She won't let him. He offers to ring for tea. She won't have any.
Oh, Jack, I can't go on any longer. When you first loved me, I thought I could, but I can't. It throttles me here. This house, this life, everything. Do you remember, Jack, when you first came in Italy? At Amalfi, when we sat on the piazza of the Palazzo?
I do.
Oh, and that day at Fiesole among the orange trees, and Pisa, and the Cappello di Teresa, oh, and the Mona Lisa. Oh, Jack, take me away. Take me away from here. Take me to the Riviera, where we can stand together with my head on your shoulder, just as we did in the Duomo at Milano, or the Piaggia at Verona. Take me to Corfu, to the Campo Santo, to Civita Vecchia, to Paranoia, anywhere.
My dearest, I will.
Any man in the audience would do as much. They'd take her to Honolulu. While she is speaking, Sir John's voice had been heard off the stage.
No, thank you, Ransom. I'll get them myself. I know just where I left them.
Sir John enters hurriedly, advances and picks up his papers on the table, turns and stands. He sees his wife's attitude and hears her say,
Riviera, Amalfi, Orangieri, Contadini, and the Cappello Santo.
I will.
"It is enough." He drops his parliamentary papers. They fall against the fire irons with a crash. These, in falling, upset a small table with one leg. The ball of wool that is on it falls to the floor. The noise of this disturbs the lovers. They turn. All three look at one another. For a moment, it appears like they might ring for tea. Then they stand petrified.
You!
Gasps Lady Cicely. She does this awfully well. Everybody says afterwards that it was just splendid when she said,
You!
Sir John stands gazing in horror.
Him? My God! He?
Mr. Harding says nothing. He looks very weak. Lady Cicely unpetrifies first. She breaks out, speaking through her nostrils.
Yes, I love him. I am not ashamed of it. What right have you to deny me? You gave me nothing. You made me a chattel, a thing.
You can feel the rustle of indignation through the house at this. To make a woman a thing is the crowning horror of a problem play.
You smothered me here. You throttled me. I couldn't breathe. You starved me. And now I'm going. Do you hear me? Going away. To life, to love, behind the beyond.
She gathers up Mr. Harding, practically, and carries him passionately away. He looks back weakly as he goes. Sir John has sunk down into a chair. His face is set. The valet enters, carrying a telegram on a tray.
Jack! My God! Jack!
Telegram, Sir John.
What?
Telegram, sir. Cablegram.
He is dead. My duty has ended. I am coming home. Margaret Harding. Margaret coming home. It only needed that. My God.
As he says it, the curtain falls. The lights flick up. There is a great burst of applause. The curtain rises. Lady Cicely and Mr. Harding and Sir John all come out and bow charmingly. There is no trace of worry on their faces, and they hold one another's hands. Then the curtain falls, and the orchestra breaks out into a Winter Garden waltz. The boxes buzz with discussion. Some of the people think that Lady Cicely is right in claiming the right to realize herself. Others think that before realizing herself, she should have developed herself. Others ask indignantly how she could know herself if her husband refused to let her be herself. But everybody feels that the subject is a delicious one. Those of the people who have seen the play before very kindly explain how it ends, so as to help the rest to enjoy it. But the more serious-minded of the men have risen, very gently, and are sneaking up the aisles. Their expression is stamped with deep thought, as if pondering over the play. But their step is that of leopards on the march, and no one is deceived as to their purpose. The music continues. The discussion goes on. The leopards come stealing back. The orchestra boils over in a cadence and stops. The theatre is darkened again. The footlights come on with a flash. The curtain silently lifts, and it is Act 2, 6 months later.